and collectibles. This is the first video in a series of room tour videos that I'm going to be putting together. And today's we're going to be taking a look at the 1/6 scale collection with figures from Hot Toys, Threezero, Blitzway, etc. And I'm going to be doing these videos over the next few weeks to show you the collection room and how it's progressing since I moved house. So let's dive straight in and we'll take a look at the room and then we'll go on to look at the 1/6 stuff. So here you can see one side of the room which contains the 1/6 scale collection. Before we dive in and look at the figures in any great detail, I just wanted to kind of run you around the entire room. As I just mentioned, this will be the first in a series of room tour videos that I'll put together. So I just wanted to show you the kind of room for a couple of minutes and walk you through what's in here. I moved house about 3 months ago, so the room's still very much a work in progress. And I've still got a few bits and bobs to finish, but the 1/6 scale stuff is pretty much finished as is. So this room has a number of purposes. It is my family dining area, so there's enough space for a large dining table. It also is my TV area, so I have a couch in the corner and a TV over on the other opposing wall. It also is my home office, so I work from home some days and also do some family office stuff, and of course it is the collection space. I've been collecting since the year 2000, so that's 21 years now, and my collection's really grown over the last, say, 10 years with everything you practically see here bought in the last 10 years, and it's quite diverse. So I have a desk with some 1/1 scale props. We have the IKEA Roadster cabinets with 1/1 scale props. We have sideshow premium format statues. We have a number of busts, 1/2 scale busts. Over in the corner we've got Robocop, Batman, Predator. A whole bunch of Star Wars helmets from manufacturers such as Novus, EFX, RS Prop Masters. On this wall, which is very much a work in progress, a couple of posters, autographs, Gladiator helmet, which I think is my oldest prop, and Ghost in the Shell geisha mask. Then of course a mixture of my 1/6 scale stuff, quarter scale Hot Toys, and a couple of statues down there. So that's the run round the room. What I wanted to talk today about is the 1/6 scale stuff. I currently have around about 40 figures and 3 vehicles. And we'll start with those vehicles and work our way round the room. So we have the 1/6 scale Batman Camel Tumbler from Hot Toys. It's quite a big imposing piece. That just sits on a couple of IKEA cabinets and just about fits and no more. It's a really nice piece. I really like the Camel Tumbler. I managed to pick that up many years ago for £150. I'm a bit of a bargain hunter as well. I do like getting things cheap as I possibly can. But yeah, that was a real good day finding that for £150, and it's a really, really solid, heavy piece. Then we have the Hot Toys Delorean. Again, another bargain. I picked this up for £500 many years ago, just shortly, about 6 months after release. I absolutely love Back to the Future, and this Delorean does not disappoint. It's difficult to keep clean. It is a wee bit dusty sometimes, so I have to dust the collection quite a fair few times in a month. It's a regular weekly routine, but that's the consequence of using open shelving. You do have to maintain and dust your stuff, but that gives me an opportunity to get up close and take care of the stuff. Then we come round to the shelving and the last and final vehicle, 1/6 scale vehicle. This is the Bandai Project BM Akira Kaneda bike, which has a light up function. Let's just get that going. This is a recent addition to the collection. Just picked this one up a couple of weeks ago. I have got a review video on it for those of you who are interested. It's a really solid piece, diecast. I've wanted this for many years. Missed out in the first release and managed to snag the second wave of the bike. And I've just had notification that the Kaneda figure has just been shipped, so watch out for that one. Next to that we have the Threezero Soundwave and Ravage, again something that's just landed in the collection in the last few weeks. This is an awesome figure, a lot of die cast parts. I have reviewed this, there's a video on the channel concerning this one, so if you're interested, check that one out. In fact, there's quite a lot of videos already on the channel for certain figures, so if you're interested, do check out the library of videos that I've already got and have a look and see if there's anything you want to watch. If there's not one there and there's a particular figure you want me to check out in closer detail, please do comment and I'll pick that one up and we'll do a bit of a short review and posing on any figure in the collection that I've not already done. And like I said, you know, there's a load of videos there for people to look at, so please do check them out, and I'll be doing some new collection videos very soon to show off the whole collection. So, you know, please do consider subscribing to the channel. It'd be very much appreciated, and you get to see the new content coming up on a weekly basis. Moving on, this is the Marty Mcfly from Back to the Future. You can see I have Marty standing in front of a self-made panel van. So this was made by myself. The background, originally I had these figures in Malthouse and a Detolf, so that background was made for a Detolf. So it has magnets on the back just to clip into the Detolf frame, but now it just sits on the IKEA shelving. Had this one for several years, and I took the background. It's just a metal sheet with a truck wheel attached and some embellishments for the top and side panels, vinyl lettering, and then I took it to the Comic Con a number of years ago in London and had it signed by Christopher Lloyd and Lee Thompson. A Marty Mcfly Hot Toys figure has just been announced that they're doing a reissue, a version 2, which looks okay, but I don't think it looks as good as this release. So I'm really happy to have this one in the collection. I'm a huge Back to the Future fan. Wish they had released more characters. Doc from Back to the Future, perhaps a Biff from Back to the Future as well would have been nice, but you know what, happy with what we've got so far. It's nice to have a Marty Mcfly in the collection. And then moving down to the right, this entire shelf is all Star Wars, so we'll take a look at each one of these. First of all, the Leia and Wicket from Hot Toys. This is a 2-pack that I picked up a few months ago. Bit of a bargain on this one, paid £299 from Zavi for the double pack, which was a really good price. And it's a great figure set. I really enjoy this one. The Wicket was a surprise. I didn't expect it to be as good as what it was, but unboxing it, having it in hand, Wicket's one of my favourite characters from Star Wars, believe it or not. It's because of the age that I am. Return of the Jedi kind of came out when I was 3 or 4, so it was the movie I watched when I was that age, and it had an imprint on me. So and at that age, Ewoks just appealed to a 3 or 4 year old. So yeah. Wicket is for me is a childhood character I have a great fondness for. So I was really delighted when I was able to pick this set up and Hot Toys made it. So yeah, that's a Leia and Wicket set. There is a review for that one as well on the channel. Then we come to the Dx11 Luke Skywalker Bespin outfit double pack. This was the special edition with the Luke Skywalker head. Bargain on this one, £180 I paid for the double pack, and it's in pristine condition. Really like this figure set. I know Hot Toys were perhaps looking at doing a new version of it and announced it a couple of years ago, but it's never came to fruition. I picked up an extra stand so that I could have both figures on the same stand as well, and I think doing back to back works really well for that set. So I'm happy to have that one. Then we have the A New Hope Vader, which is an excellent figure. The only one I have, but perhaps not the best. I've heard the best is either the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary or the Rogue One. But I'm quite happy to have this one. It has light up functions, light up saber, pack, belt, and voice activation through remote control. I tend not to put the batteries in my figures, purely for a safety perspective. I don't want the batteries causing any damage to the figures over time. So whilst it's nice to have those light up functions and voice functions, it's not something that I tend to stick with through the collection. They're there as a static display piece, and I want to keep them as good as I possibly can. Then we move on to Rogue One Hot Toys figures. Shiro Imwi, played by Donnie Yen, and K2SO, played by Alan Tudyk. Two actors which I have met through conventions, and you can see down the bottom here I've had plaques signed in person by both Donnie Yen and Alan Tudyk. So it gives me something a little bit extra to add to the display. These two I also have reviewed on the channel, so there are videos on these if you want to go and check them out. And you'll notice already that I like to stick to museum type display poses in the collection. It's just my personal preference. I do have a couple which are branching out, and we'll come on to them in a second. But yeah, museum style poses is something that I typically just go with, and I think I try and find the best museum pose for each character. The K2SO diecast, in part mainly the lower half of the figure. It's an excellent figure, and I think is doing really well on the secondary market. I think prices for that one are quite high at the moment and have been for some time. I have had a couple of other Rogue One figures such as Erso which have sold. Yeah, I kind of regret that one now. But I'm quite happy with these two. I think the only other one I'd probably look at getting, if Hot Toys ever released it, is the Baze figure to go along with Shiro. But so far, these two from Rogue One I'm perfectly happy with. And I've got them standing next to the Vader because it is very, very similar. Although it's New Hope, it's very similar to the Rogue One Vader. And then moving on, we start with the Mandalorian Shelf. And I know this is a Return of the Jedi look that I have here. So it's not completely accurate to the Mandalorian, but I've put him in a Mandalorian type pose because it works really well with the Mando figures as well. So here we have the Return of the Jedi look from Hot Toys. I really love Luke Skywalker, childhood hero. So the more Luke Skywalker figures I can have, the better. This one I'm really impressed with. I know you can't see too much, but the face sculpt, the clothing, the tailoring, the overall presence of the figure, the stand is fantastic. It does come with a light up saber. Again, I choose not to put batteries in these things for fear of damage over time. But the lightsaber does light up a nice shade of green. Then we move on to the Mandalorian. This is the Beskar armour with Child Deluxe. This is one that I chose not to have in a museum pose, and I've kind of put in a form of action pose. Again, I've reviewed this one very recently on the channel. I found this one quite challenging to find a good pose, and I'm always fiddling with it and trying to find something a bit better. chose in this case to have the Mando just taken off in flight, so it could make sense with the footprints on the base. This is one I'm likely to change as we go along, because I'm not entirely convinced it's the right pose for it. But he's a great figure. He really is fantastic. I'm looking forward to more Mandos making their way out of Hot Toys to expand the Mandalorian collection. Then we come on to one of the standouts of the entire collection, quite possibly one of the finest figures in my opinion that Hot Toys have produced. This is the Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, and again one that I've chosen to put in a kind of flight pose rather than the museum style. It is an amazing figure. There is a video on this one, so if you don't know much about it or want to see it a bit better or closer, please do check that one out. Everything about it's just fantastic. It's the sculpt, the hard armour parts, the paint application, the weathering, everything is just really spectacular, and it's been well thought out, well put together, and as I said, probably one of Hot Toys' finest for quite some time, if not of all time. So I'm really liking the Heavy Infantry Mandalorian. Then we come on to the OG Mando, the Durasteel Mando, the pre-Beskar Mando. This is the Mandalorian version from season 1, episodes 1, 2, a wee bit of 3 maybe. And I've chosen to have him kind of posed just as you've seen him in the first episode, you know, tracking his bounty, ready to go. So it is a museum style pose. It's a fantastic figure. I really like this one, mainly because I really like the Mandalorian. I mean, it's a very popular show, and gives us true Star Wars fans a really good series to enjoy. So I'm really happy with this figure. I've had this one since release. It's a great figure overall. Again, this one's been reviewed on the channel, so if you want to check it out, please do so. Then we come on to the latest addition for the Mandalorian / Star Wars line, the Armourer. Recently landed 2 weeks ago and has already been reviewed. Video is now up. Let me just take a step back so you can see the height difference in the Mando figures. You can see the Armourer is significantly smaller than the Death Trooper to the right or the Mando to the left. I really like this figure. This was a Toy Fair exclusive, and everything about it, the tailoring, the stitching, the detail, the Wookiee kind of shawl over her shoulders, the apron, the boots. It's a fantastic figure, and one that was out within months of announcement because it's a Toy Fair exclusive. So we're really happy with this one. I think the Armourer is a great character, and I was delighted when Hot Toys announced her. So yeah, that one's a good one. And then we have the Death Trooper. This is the Mandalorian release of the Death Trooper. I did at one point have the Rogue One release and sold it stupidly. I've done that quite a few times. I don't tend to sell things nowadays. I've learned lessons over the last 20 years. I've had so many things that I've let go and regretted. I just choose not to sell things nowadays. It's of course, that's how a lot of us fund our collections. To get the new and latest thing, you sell the oldest or the least desirable thing you have to get the money to afford the new thing. I try not to do that now. I try to plan better and save up so that I don't have to sell my collection to fund my collection. But yeah, so this one is one I managed to add back in with the Mandalorian release, and it's a great figure. Again, one I've reviewed already, video on the channel. Death Trooper, it's a great figure, really like it. I think this is maybe slightly, if memory serves me correctly, it's maybe slightly better than the Rogue One release, but it's difficult to tell. I'd need to have two figures side by side, but I like it anyway. And then we have one that I wasn't too interested in when it was announced, but then I started to see the appeal once it had been released, the Han Solo Mud Trooper. Now, Solo was a good film. It was fine. There wasn't anything, you know, particularly excellent or fantastic about it. I did enjoy the film, but I wasn't drawn to collecting many of, or all, or any of the characters from the movie. But then I started to see the Mud Trooper as a trooper rather than a solo figure. And I think as a trooper figure, the Mud Trooper is a fantastic figure. So yeah, I was really happy I picked this one up. Probably picked it up in the secondary market when prices were, you know, at that higher point. So I paid £300 for this one. But I'm quite happy that I've got it, and I don't regret paying £300 for it. I think it's a great figure for the money, and it's probably still there or thereabouts, £300 odd. The hype has died down somewhat from where it was. Don't think there was a lot of these made either, so I think the price should be relatively stable for the future. But yeah, that's the Mud Trooper figure. Again, one that's been reviewed on the channel. So that's the entire bottom shelf looked at. That's all the Star Wars figures out the way. Let's move up to the upper shelf and we'll have a rundown of all the individual characters. So we'll start first of all with the Dark Knight collection. These are the only 3 figures I have in the Dark Knight series. I have had others such as Blake figure, other Joker figures, other Batman figures, and I've let them all go. And these are the only 3 I'm left with, which I don't I'm quite happy with. For example, the first one is the Dx11 Joker. I've had him since release. I know his commands quite a high price now in the secondary market, but ordered them from Sideshow the minute it was announced many years ago, and had him in the collection ever since. I think this is currently my oldest Hot Toys figure. I've had other ones, but again let go. This is currently the oldest Hot Toys that I have, and he's been in this pose ever since he's landed. So that is an awesome figure. It's just an amazing, accurate representation of Heath Ledger. I don't think there's been very many that have competed with this one, and I'm really happy to have that one. And then we come on to excuse me, the Batman Armory. And at one point or another I did have the figure displayed alongside the Armory, but when I moved house I decided to change it up a little bit and put the bat suit in the Armory, and I'm really happy I did. I think the figure was good, wasn't impressed with the cape. The cape was far too big, just a big sheet of material. There was nothing special about it, and it really dragged the look of the figure down, I felt. So when removing the cape and putting the figure actually in the Armory, it made the Armory just look a million times better. So I was really happy that I chose to do that. And I think the Armory looks spectacular with the bat suit. Then we come on to a third party Bane. This isn't the Hot Toys Bane, this is a third party version which I picked up many years ago. And really happy with this one. Again, museum style pose, but from a third party perspective, the sculpt is on point. The tailoring, the clothing, the accessories, all on point. I can't fault this third party. And I can't even remember who made it. It's been that long since I've had it. I'm using a different stand, hence why I've just put a wee bit of tape on there at the moment just to put his nameplate. I need to fix that and put a proper nameplate on. But yeah, the Bane figure, really happy with that one. Not using anything special on the body, you can see it's just a standard muscular body. I did think about putting on something like a Fison Seamless, but to be honest, apart from the wrist pegs, you don't tend to see much of the body with the jacket on, so I'm quite happy with the way it looks. And then we'll move on and look at the Robocop collection. So I have 4 Robocop figures at the moment, 3 Hot Toys and 1 custom. I have had more in the past, so I had the Ed 209 first release version, which I eventually sold and got rid of, and I'm currently looking to bring into the collection again. But just going left to right, we have the Diecast Robocop. This is a stunning figure. Main die-cast pieces again are in the bottom half and the legs, but this is an amazing figure, very well executed, very well painted. Probably doesn't come off very well on camera, but the armour has a kind of purplish blue tinge, as it should. It's probably more silver than what it actually is in the movie itself, but it's a absolutely amazing Hot Toys figure. Everything about it's just fantastic. Then we come on to the Alex Murphy. This was part of a double pack with the battle damaged Robo, which I actually bought separately. I didn't buy them as a double pack. I managed to pick up the battle damaged Robo loose, and then 6 months later picked up the Alex Murphy loose for about £120 per figure. So a bit of a bargain there. But the Alex Murphy is a tremendous figure, and it just goes to show you how long Hot Toys have been good for. You know, the latest figure releases, the sculpts are absolutely amazing, the portraits are fantastic. You look at something like, you know, the Yondu, which is only released in the last year or two. You look at the Star Wars figures that have been released, the portraits are immaculate. This is quite an old figure now, the Alex Murphy. It's been out for what, 5 years maybe? Something along them lines, and look at the portrait on that one. The paint application, the portrait, I mean, that is Peter Weller. There's nothing I could fault about this one in any way, shape or form. Tailoring, accessories wise, nothing particularly special about Alex Murphy's police uniform and suit. It's very, very well done. I'm sure if Hot Toys were to do it again, they would do maybe a slightly better job, but you can't fault this one. It's a fantastic figure. And then before we move to Battle Damage Robocop, this is a custom. This is Clarence Blodiger, made by Legio 7 Workshop. Stand out of the collection for sure. One of only 10 made worldwide in this particular run. And the chap who made this is a complete and true artist. Not only is that face sculpt absolutely amazing, but the clothing, the tailoring, the general overall look of the figure, I think he just managed to smash it and nail it. And it just goes to show you from a custom perspective how talented people can really be. Now the Legio 7 Workshop has produced a couple of other limited runs of Robocop figures, as well as other horror type figures. And at one point I did own the Joe Cox figure, and I let that one go. Wish I hadn't, but I did. And they also did an Emil figure, which I didn't manage to get on the run, so I missed out on that one. But I'm always keeping my eye out for new runs or figures popping up in the secondary market, which doesn't happen that often, to be fair, but this is a fantastic figure. It really is brilliant. And then we move on to the Battle Damage Robocop. This guy comes with lots of different accessories, etc. I've only chosen to use the Auto 9 pistol. But again, Hot Toys, this is one of Hot Toys' standouts. Everything about it is just absolutely fantastic. The sculpt, the detail, the back of the head, the armour, the weathering, the paintwork. I really like this Battle Damage Robocop. I think Hot Toys managed to execute this absolutely fantastic. Take a closer look at that one. Again, that was a bit of a bargain, as I just mentioned. I got that as a loose figure for about 120 or 130 pounds. Don't even know what it's worth in the secondary market. Not even interested, I wouldn't be selling it anyway, but I don't imagine even a double pack is easily found for a cheap price at the moment. I think these Robocop figures, because they've been out for so long, anytime they pop up, I'd imagine they're in reasonably high demand. And it's a license I really wish Hot Toys had kept up with. There is so much potential with so many more of the characters. I mean, Lewis, for example, main character, perhaps there was licensing issues, perhaps they couldn't get a likeness, or perhaps they felt that it just wasn't worth continuing the line. They did do quite a number of Robocop based figures. If only they had just continued the line and gave us Kane and gave us some of the kind of the bad guys, Emil, Joe Cox, it would have been fantastic to have a bigger lineup. But I'm reasonably happy. In fact, I'm not reasonably, I'm very happy with what I've got in the Robocop line from Hot Toys. It's one of my favourite all-time films. Again, from when I was a kid watching it. And then we move on to Yondu. Yondu, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is an amazing release from Hot Toys. I think every collector sees the value in Yondu. The sculpt, the tailoring, everything about it is just absolutely fantastic. It really is. I'm so glad I picked this up on release, because trying to get one in the secondary market is quite tough to get for the right price. Hot Toys did a wonderful job on this, they really did. Absolutely amazing. So that's Yondu. And then one of my all-time favourites, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is a character for me. I don't know, I just love Harley Quinn. I love everything that Margot Robbie did with the character. And anything Harley Quinn based, I will try and collect. So I've got this 1/6 scale Hot Toys figure. I've got the Sideshow Premium format, and on pre-order we've got the Infinity Studio 1/1 scale silicon bust, which is about next year. And I've also got the JND Studios 1/3 scale silicon Harley Quinn statue on pre-order, which was due early 2022. So yeah, I'm a bit of a Harley Quinn fan, and I think Hot Toys did an amazing job with this figure. This is the special edition, so it came with the Harley Quinn mallet. And I absolutely adore this figure. I've had it in the same pose ever since she arrived, which works superbly well with that head sculpt. And I think it's a brave choice by Hot Toys to give us a head sculpt with a kind of left hand look, open mouth, but it just works so well. I believe the same sculptor, and I can't remember the sculptor's name of the portrait, but the same artist is also doing the JND Studios 1/3 scale statue. So if this is anything to go by, I think that is going to look absolutely amazing when we actually get it in hand. Looking forward to that one. But for the meantime, for 1/6 scale, this is so impressive. It's a beautiful 1/6 scale figure. And then on to my hanging Heath Ledger. As I said before in other videos, I can't take credit for this particular pose. I did see another collector many years ago who invented this with the Joker, and I thought, oh, that is amazing. I need to do something similar, if not exactly the same. So what I've done is we had some spare parts, I would say, from the Dx11 set, the jacket and the head sculpt, and I went out and sourced a new body with clothing. So the shoes, the trousers, the waistcoat, the shirt and tie are all from a secondary figure that I bought, and I used the suit jacket, the purple jacket, the hands and the head sculpt from the Dx11 box to create this hanging Joker. So credit and my thanks to the chap who put this pose together. I apologise again, I can't remember your actual name to give you the credit. I think you go by 1/6 Poser on YouTube. But yeah, fantastic pose. Everybody should have something similar in their collection, I think. It just fills the gap between Harley and Deadshot so nicely. And lets you use different parts of your leftover Dx11 set. Then we move to Deadshot. I absolutely love Deadshot. I think as a character, Will Smith played him so well in Suicide Squad. And this wasn't one that I got, this figure isn't one that I got on release. I only just recently picked Deadshot up in the last, say, 6 months. And I'm so glad that I did. Prices for Deadshot fluctuate quite a lot, I find. Certainly they were fluctuating when I was looking for them. The prices had dropped like an absolute stone, down to 150, 160 pounds in some cases. And then when I decided that, yeah, I want to chase them down and go after them, prices had started to rise, and we were looking at 230, 250, 280. So again, I waited it out. And I managed to pick him up, I think, for about 180, 185, which is a very, very fair and reasonable price for Deadshot on the secondary market. And it's a fantastic figure. Again, I kind of stayed away from a museum pose this time and put him in sort of something kind of more action based or dynamic. But overall, I think it's a fantastic figure. He comes with so many accessories. He really does. And I've chosen to have the masked portrait on the figure rather than the Will Smith portrait. I just think it looks a bit more meaner, a bit more Deadshot. So that's that one, really like that one. And then on to Deadpool. Deadpool, so many things you could do with Deadpool. This is the Deadpool 2 figure, so it's not the original release from the original Deadpool movie with the suit issues. This came with a whole bunch of accessories which I chose just to leave in the box. But you know, for a museum pose, this is a great figure, so much potential to do something with. And I really, really like this one. I love Deadpool as a film. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Yeah, I like all the films. You know, there's not a film that I didn't really like, and I've watched them all countless times. But for some reason, when it comes to collecting figures or collectibles from the films, I kind of shy away from it. It's not something that piques my interest. I'm generally an 80s and Star Wars kid. So most of my collection is kind of 80s based or Star Wars based, or, you know, singular film based. It's not Marvel stuff. But anyway, Deadpool from Marvel, absolutely love the film and absolutely love the figure. So this was a must have the minute it was announced. Pre-ordered, and really glad that I've got them in the collection. Then we move on to The Matrix and Neo. Love this one as well. I think this is a fantastic release by Hot Toys. Again, I think everybody wishes they did more from The Matrix, and perhaps it's a licensing issue or a commercial decision, but certainly Hot Toys have only ever given us this one. I know they showed us an Agent Smith, which I would love to add into the collection. He is one of the best bad guys on the film planet. You know, Agent Smith is just fantastic, and I really, really wish we'd managed to get one from Hot Toys. I know there are some in the third party market which I might pick up. But yeah, Neo is a fantastic figure, comes with a bunch of accessories, which I've chosen just to use the two, I think they're called Mp5 Sub Machine Guns. I might be wrong, I don't really know my gun terminology. But yeah, 2 Sub Machine Guns in that one. The only downside with this is the size of that stand. I mean, it's nice to have with the kind of like the lobby scene green tiling on it, but it doesn't fit in very well with all the other Hot Toys figures and Hot Toys stands. That stand, I think, was a bit of a miss by Hot Toys. But there you are. It is what it is, I guess. Not a lot we can do about it, apart from just change the stand to something more generic, which I might have to do because I'm starting to run out of space and need to double up some of the figures in the shelving. But yeah, Neo, great figure, really like that one. And then we're going to move on to a Threezero figure. This is Chappie. Chappie being one of my all-time favourite films. I like everything that Neil Blomkamp does. This was not the special edition. This was the standard police robot edition that Threezero did, and all I did was customise it. So with some white paint, a white paint pen, as well as some orange paint and a couple of new accessories such as the gas canister belt and grenades, as it were added in, and a couple of wee gold chains. So it's not completely and utterly 100% accurate. It's the best I can do with my artistic ability, and there are a couple of bits missing, like the dollar sign off the chain, and I still have to add in a little bit of pink around that blast mark. But you know, I think it looks pretty good myself. I love Chappie. Couldn't get the special edition on the secondary market, so I just chose to pick up a standard one and customise it myself. So I'm really happy with that one. I think Threezero did an amazing job of the actual figure itself. So I'm very happy to have that one in the collection. Still looking to try and change out Chappie's gun. I want to try and either customise, build, 3D print, or get a closer gun to what he used at the end fight scene against the moose. That's the kind of look I'm going for, so always on the hunt for something like that, just haven't found it yet. Then we're going to move on to the soosoo Toys Mr. Butcher, aka Billy Butcher, which has just landed last week. This is a phenomenal figure. I love everything about it, and did a review video very recently on it. So very quickly you can see sculpt, perfect, love it, tailoring, just accessories, gun, crowbar, and the baby. Wee Carlos sitting there, couldn't put him back in the box. He had to become a feature of the display. Carlos the baby, Carlos the super baby. Really like this figure. Not going to say too much about it, just for the interest of time. Again, museum style pose, but really impressed. This is my first and only soosoo Toys figure. Subsequently, I've ordered the John Lander / Homelander figure, and I'm really looking forward now to getting that one. I think soosoo have smashed this one out the park, and judging by the prototype pics, I'm really looking forward to the John Lander, because I think soosoo will do an excellent job of that one. And it's encouraged me to go and look for some more soosoo releases. Then we come to the Hot Toys Alita Battle Angel. Again, another fantastic release by Hot Toys. I know this one's been out for a while now, but I only got it in the last couple of months. This is probably the most fun I've had with a figure, trying to find a pose. It's so well engineered. Hot Toys really put a lot of thought into engineering of the body, and the flexibility and posing options you can get with this one's phenomenal. So do check out the Alita video that I've got up, because it was a lot of fun doing the video and finding poses for Alita. Now I've just put her in a standard movie poster style museum pose, which works for me. There are so many options for this one. There really is so many options. And I remember being a fan of the original manga when I was a teenager in the 90s. Battle Angel Alita was a fantastic anime, and I was really glad they didn't mess up the live action movie of late. I think the film is a really good adaptation of the anime, and Hot Toys smashed the figure out the park as far as I'm concerned. It's a fantastic figure. So many options, it's brilliant. Now we're going to take a look at the next one on the line, is the City Hunter Predator from Predator 2. This is a fantastic figure. I really like this one. Look at the size of it in comparison to Alita. Scaling wise, it's a big figure. It's a really big figure. Didn't get this on the original release. This was a secondary market purchase a number of years ago, and I like the look of the City Hunter Predator overall. Excuse me. I think it's my favourite Predator. It has rubber dreadlocks, it has real netting over the body. This is one you didn't have to build up. I know Hot Toys pushed out a lot of the early Predators was like a kit, and and you had to build them yourself. This one, although it came with a whole bunch of accessories, it came straight out the box with everything assembled, which was really nice. It does have a switch out mask, so you can take the mask off and put in some mandibles and have a predator head. But this one, really, really excellent. It's a great figure to have. And yeah, it's very well done. Paint application wise, sculpt, body, it weighs an absolute ton as well. And again, just goes to show you that Hot Toys, even from an older figure perspective, we're still knocking them out the park way back when this was released many years ago. And finally on this shelf, we're going to take a look at another DX. DX 15. Is it 15? I need to look that one up. Anyway, this is the Pirates of the Caribbean Jack Sparrow from Dead Men Tell No Tales. And in my opinion, this is probably another one of the finest Hot Toys that we've seen. Not the best rendition of Jack Sparrow from the movies, and what I mean by that is Dead Men Tell No Tales is probably my least favourite. Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I much prefer the first three, but I'm really, really happy that Hot Toys produced Jack Sparrow from this movie nonetheless. This came in this lovely big special base, which is just begging to be lit up at some point. But it's a fantastic figure. The amount of accessories and detail this comes with is phenomenal. It has pairs, so you can make Jack look in different ways. It has rooted hair. It has so many things about it. For a DX, this is a true DX. This is what you expect from a DX figure. Lots of accessories, fine detail, going that extra mile. From a DX release, I would say this is probably one of Hot Toys' best DX releases. So yeah, happy to have that one as well. And that is the second shelf of Hot Toys and 1/6 scale figures. And then last but not least, and we'll not look at these in any real detail on the left, although these are Hot Toys, these are quarter scale. So, and enterbay as well, sorry, on the left. We have the quarter scale Batman, we have the quarter scale Joker, and we have the quarter scale enterbay Batman Begins. I'm going to steer away from them, although they are slightly related. I want to keep it 1/6. So if you want to see them in a wee bit more detail, do come back and check out the actual room tour video we do in the next couple of weeks, and we'll go through them. But here is the final 1/6 scale shelf. And we only have 6 figures here, so we're nearly done with this video, so thanks for bearing with us. We first of all have The Crow, a fantastic movie. Absolutely love The Crow. I owned The Crow figure many years ago and sold it, really regretted it and wanted to get it again, so I found this a few months ago, brand new, in the box, 7 years old, never saw the light of day. From that seller in Hong Kong, bought it hoping there wouldn't be too many issues with the pleather, and I was quite happy with what I managed to end up with. So there is a video on that unboxing and review, do check out if you're interested. It's a phenomenal figure. Again, Hot Toys 7 years ago, knocking them out the park. You'll see there that he stands in front of a DIY self-made background. Again, as I'd mentioned with the Marty Mcfly, I used to have my figures in detolfs, and I had backgrounds for all my detolfs made from wood and plastic, etc. So I'd made this for a detolf shelf, and I still think it works rather well and complements the figure. So I've just stuck it behind Eric Draven, and it's the kind of the window scene where he bursts out the apartment window. See that there, and from a figure perspective, the Crow is still one of the best in my opinion. The only pleather problems I've got with this is a wee bit of pleather missing off the jacket and around the crotch area. It's degrading slightly, but other than that, the trousers are pretty good. So that's the Crow figure. Then we have the Blitzway Ghostbusters 4-pack set. Secondary prices for this are nuts at the moment. I think a lot of people missed out on them and are now trying to hunt them down. I was lucky enough to get them pre-ordered at the time. I think retail it was about £900 for the set, so it was a considerable chunk of money a few years ago getting these ones. But I think they're worth every penny. I think Blitzway did a fantastic job on these. So we'll take a closer look. First of all, we have Venkman, Peter Venkman. Again, head sculpts and all of them are fantastic. The Proton packs are fantastic. The accessories, the tailoring, everything about them is amazing. So I'm really happy to have these in the collection. The only downside with the Blitzway figures, and I've had a few of them as well, is the stands. I'm not a great fan of the stands. Here is Ray Stantz with the goggles on and holding the ghost trap. All the accessories are largely the same in all figures, so when it comes to Proton packs and belts there are subtle differences, but largely they're all the same. And then we have this little special Slimer, which is made of a translucent resin, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. It's a fantastic Slimer. They've nailed that, absolutely nailed it. Sculpt, paint application, the fact they've used a translucent green resin for them is just genius. Then we move to Egon Spengler, again another great figure. We've just got Egon standing there with his PKE meter. Accessories all still the same as all the others. And then last but not least, Winston Zeddemore, who I've had the pleasure of meeting many years ago at a con. He's a lovely guy, and sculpt wise, fantastically on point. I think Blitzway did a fantastic job with capturing the likeness of all of them, including Winston. So there we are, there's Winston Zeddemore. And last but not least, my Threezero Glen Rhee from The Walking Dead. And this is one I just got last week from Amazon, £80 paid, another wee bargain. And I'm really impressed with this one. You can see there's the figure. Again, I've done a review video on this one, so if you're interested, do check out the Glen Rhee figure. But that's the one from Threezero, and I'm really impressed. And that again is just standing in front of a background that I made from bits of moulded concrete, plastic netting, and then painted, weathered with blood splattering, etc. So it's a kind of zombie themed background. So yeah, you can check that video out if you have a spare 5 minutes. So there we are. That's the entire 1/6 scale collection from start to finish. It's something I'm really focused on at the moment. Really want to build upon this, and you can see, looks like I'm running out of room, but there's always ideas and ways to make more room available for figures. I've got a few en route, so as I said, we've got the Canada from Akira en route now. I'm about to place a few orders for some in-stock figures, so they'll be here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll just see when some of the pre-orders land. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. If I can answer any questions for you, feel free to ask a question in the comments section. Any comments or thumbs up just gives me the encouragement to keep doing more, because I don't know whether people actually watch my videos and enjoy them. And as I said, consider subscribing to the channel, because I'll be doing more and more reviews as new things land. I'll be picking up some of the figures I've already got, giving them a look over, and of course we'll be doing a couple more room tours looking at more stuff in this room. So we'll look at the Star Wars helmets, we'll look at the sideshow premium format stuff, we'll take a look at the 1/1 scale props, etc. And yeah, it's if you're interested, please do subscribe. So thanks for sticking with us. I know this has been quite a long video, and no doubt you've just skipped through and got some of the highlights, but thanks for checking out anyway. I really appreciate that. Again, any questions, leave them in the comments. And yeah, thanks very much for checking it out. So until the next time, take care.